Good morning. Welcome you all in the 8th Endoscopic Sinus and Skull Base Conference 2024. I am Dr. Mohammad Khabiruddin Patwari, presenting on basic surgical anatomy of nose and paranasal sinuses. First, nasal septum. Nasal septum provides projection of the nose and divided into three parts. Bony septum formed by the perpendicular plate of ethmoid and vomer mainly. The cartilaginous septum is formed by quadrangular cartilage, and membranous septum lies in between cartilaginous septum and columella. Here is the picture of anterior nares. As you see, this is the cartilaginous septum, and here is the medial and lateral crus, which is formed by the upper lateral cartilage. And this picture is the lateral wall of the septum of the nose, which is mainly formed superiorly by the perpendicular plate of ethmoid and inferiorly by the vomer, and some minor contribution from the nasal bone, nasal process of the ethmoid bone, and below from the nasal crest of palatine bone and nasal crest of maxilla. And this is the quadrangular cartilage. Nasal septum is studied for different types of deviations and spur formation. Spur may cause turbulence of airflow and leading to nasal polyp, and deviations may cause changing in the airflow, causes chronic rhinosinusitis. And in both of these forms may causes difficulty during the endoscopic sinus surgery, and view of the field may obstruct by them and should be corrected during the endoscopic sinus surgery. Ethmoid bone needs to be understood in a proper way. Form most of the skeletal framework of the nose. It consists of a horizontal part and a cribriform plate, and a vertical part in the midline, the perpendicular plate, and perpendicular plate forms the posterior part of the septum. Cribriform plate feeds into the notch of the frontal bone. It transmits olfactory nerves as well as anterior and posterior ethmoid arteries. Tistacally is a projection on cribriform plate in the midline. This is a picture of an ethmoid bone. Here, this is the medial projection, midline projection tistacally, and the downward projection got the perpendicular plate of ethmoid bone. The medial nasal concha. This is the anterior view, and this is the superior view. There is a numerous air cells. Here the olfactory fossa is clearly visible, and it is the lateral lamella, and this is the horizontal lamella of the olfactory fossa, and this is the orbital plate, and this is the ethmoid. Surgical importance in endoscopic sinus surgery. The ethmoid fovea is formed medially by the lateral lamella of cribriform plate, 0.2 millimeter, laterally by the frontal bone, which is 0.5 millimeter in thickness. The region where the anterior ethmoidal artery passes the dura medially is the thinnest area of the base of the skull and only 0.05 millimeter in thickness. If we look here, this is the olfactory fossa, this is the horizontal lamella, lateral lamella, and the orbital plate of frontal bone, and which forms the olfactory fossa. The depth of the olfactory fossa and length of the lateral lamella forms the fossa is classified by the type 1 is 1 to 3 millimeter. That means the lateral lamellar length is 1 to 3 millimeter. Is it called type 1, which is safest for the surgery, and type 2, which is 4 to 7 millimeter in depth. The lateral lamella and olfactory fossa is depth in inferiorly, and the type 3 is 8 to 16 millimeter depth. And type 3 is difficult and to understand by an endoscopic surgeon by doing the CT scan. That is type A, type B, and type C. Sometimes there is a variation in between two sides, right and left, in the same patient, and that is why one part may be easier to execute and another side may be difficult. Lateral wall of the nose. Anterior part is covered by the skin and beard's hair called the vestibule of the nose. After that, there is structureless area, the atrium, and the agar cell lies anterior to the middle turbinate, which extend up to the inferior turbinate. There is a three scroll-like structure called inferior, middle, and superior turbinate. In between them, the corresponding meatus. The most important aspect is middle turbinate for the endoscopic surgeon, and middle turbinate is attached with different structure in three different planes. The anterior part is lie in the sagittal section and which attached in a cribriform plate of ethmoid bone in between lateral and medial lamella, and most anteriorly is it attached with the frontonasal process of maxilla, and middle portion is lies in coronal plane which attached with the lamina papyracea, and which causes the strength of the lateral turbinate, and most posteriorly it is situated in the axial plane and attached with the perpendicular plate of palatine bone. After medialization of the middle turbinate, or if we trim the middle turbinate or dissected the middle turbinate, we can see most anteriorly the curved ridge called the uncinate process. The uncinate process is sickle shaped with vertical and horizontal leaf, and the intermediate portion. Behind this, there is a pneumatized and most constant anterior ethmoidal cell is called the bulla ethmoidalis. If we look at this picture after trimming of the middle turbinate, this is the uncinate process, this is the bulla, and in between there is a semilunularis space called the hiatus semilunularis, which is two-dimensional structure and it leads to three-dimensional structure called the infundibulum. The most important structure here is the uncinate process, which is dome-shaped structure, and it is malleable. It is attached superiorly in different variations. Most commonly, it is situated in the lamina papyracea, and it is closely related with the frontal sinus recess, like the upper dome, and the recess enclosed this upper dome like a eggshell in an inverted egg cup. That means the drainage of the frontal sinus lies medial to the uncinate process, and the sinus is situated anteriorly. And another type where the uncinate process is attached with the base of the skull, and the drainage goes to the infundibulum, and also in type 3 it is attached to the turbinate and goes the drainage goes to the infundibulum. In these two situations, the frontal sinus disease may extend into the maxillary sinus, and also the vice versa maxillary sinus disease into the frontal sinus. Another type where the frontal sinus float on the middle meatus. After dissection of the uncinate process, we can study the lateral structure clearly, and mainly we can see the maxillary ostium, which is oval in shape, and this sorts of ostium which is formed by the different bones and intervening mucosa. Bones mainly by the uncinate process enter inferiorly the lacrimal descending part of the lacrimal bone, inferior turbinate maxillary portion, and also by the perpendicular plate of palatine bone, and which intervening the mucosa, and somewhere there is no intervening bone, only mucosa. That means anterior and posterior fontanelli. Sometimes the mucosa may be dehiscence in somewhere called the accessory ostium. In this situation, when accessory ostium is present, it should be incorporated with the main ostium to prevent the reverse flow. Here is the close view of the ostium. Surgical importance in endoscopic sinus surgery. A branch of sphenopalatine artery runs along the lateral nasal wall in the middle meatus. That branch may be encountered whilst widening the maxillary ostium posteriorly. The normal ostium should be widened in an anterior-inferior direction to prevent injury to the nasolacrimal duct, which lies 5 mm anterior to it. The uncinate process, the bulla and the intervening infundibulum form the key area of the osteometal unit, into which the frontal, the maxillary and anterior ethmoid sinuses drain. This is the osteometal complex. If you see here the bulla, the medial turbinate, the uncinate and the intervening portion of the hiatus semilunaris, the anterior sinuses, that means frontal sinus, maxillary sinus and anterior ethmoid sinus drains into the hiatus semilunaris, which is the key area of the osteometal unit. Ethmoidal bulla. Ethmoidal bulla is usually a well-pneumatized, most constant anterior ethmoid cell, can be absent in 8% cases. The ethmoid bulla is separated posteriorly from the ground lamella of the middle turbinate by a recess called the retrobullar recess. The bulla does not extend up to the base of the skull and is separated from the base of the skull by suprabullar recess. Here is the picture we see. This is the retrobullar recess and this is the suprabullar recess, and two recesses combinedly form the sinus lateralis of the ground wall. And this recess enter into a semilunar cleft known as hiatus semilunaris superior, which is opposite the hiatus semilunaris inferior. That means hiatus semilunaris inferior and in a infundibulum and hiatus semilunaris superior and are open into the sinus lateralis. Surgical importance. Clearance of the bulla, anterior and posterior ethmoid cell should be done using blunt instrument to prevent injury to the lamina papyracea and orbital contents. The anterior wall of the bulla lies just in front of the anterior interpulmonary artery at the base of the skull. Now frontal recess. Frontal recess has variety of anatomical variations. Anteriorly it is bounded by the Agarnazi cell, posteriorly by the bulla ethmoidalis. Lateral wall is formed by the lamina papyracea, medial wall formed by the medial turbinate. And superiorly, the frontal recess open via the frontal ostium into the sinuses. That means if we look from the superior, the frontal orifice is a funnel-shaped structure. And this funnel-shaped structure is known as infundibulum. The frontal sinus, frontal orifice and frontal recess give the impression of a configuration of hourglass contracture. This is the frontal sinus, this is orifice, this is the recess and this is the infundibulum, combinedly form an hourglass configuration. This is the close view of hourglass configuration. This is the now ethmoid sinus. The anterior ethmoid air cells are variable in number. The posterior ethmoid air cells are fewer and larger. Anterior group drains into the middle meatus by the way of infundibulum. The middle group drains in the middle meatus if present, and posterior group drains in the superior meatus and sometimes one or more into the sphenoid sinus. The anterior ethmoidal cell may migrate anterosuperiorly into the frontal recess to produce different types of frontal cell. Kuhn describes 4 types of frontal cell. Type 1 cell, single cell above the Agarnazi cell. Type 2 cell, 2 or more cell above the Agarnazi cell. Type 3 cell, a large cell extending well into the frontal sinus, mimicking the frontal sinus itself, sometimes called frontal bulla. Type 4, an isolated or lunar cell separately within the frontal sinus. Here is the structure we see. This is the frontal cell, frontal sinus, frontal orifice, frontal recess, and if we see on CT scan, we can see clearly the frontal cells. This is type 1 frontal cell, single cell, above the Agatazi cell, just below the frontal beak. Type 2 cell, 2 or more cell, here 3 cell, below the beak, above the Aganazi cell. These two sorts of cell can be operated easily, but in case of type 3 and type 4 cell, here the type 3 cell we extend the frontal sinus, and it is 50% in the frontal sinus, but in case of type 4 cell, more than 50% cell extended into the frontal sinus, and it is isolated cell, and it is very much difficult to operate. Sometimes frontal beak may be drilled to correspond the sinuses. Surgical importance in endoscopic sinus surgery. While dissecting in frontal recess, the surgeon may think he has entered in the frontal sinus, when in fact he is within a frontal cell. It is necessary to deroof this frontal cell as to reach the frontal sinus and establish the drainage. The posterior ethmoidal cell may extend posteriorly over the sphenoid is called Onodi cell. Thus, the Onodi cell insinuates itself between the optic nerve and the sphenoid sinus. The optic nerve therefore to produce a bulge in the Onodi cell instead of the sphenoid sinus. This is a picture we can see the Onodi situation here. That this is the superior surface of the sphenoid sinuses, and this is the optic nerve. Optic nerve may give impression in the Onodi cell instead of sphenoid sinuses. Even the optic nerve can enter into the Onodi cell. So one surgeon should be encountered that in Onodi cell, in Onodi situation, he has to give extra care and not to damage the optic nerve and the carotid artery. Sphenoid sinus ostium is high and its anterior wall close to the roof. The sphenoid ostium lies 1 to 1.5 centimeter above the roof of the posterior corner. It drains into the sphenoethmoidal recess. The superior turbinate in the sphenoethmoidal recess may overlie the opening of the sphenoid ostium. Relation of sphenoid sinus, its lateral wall is related anterosuperiorly the optic nerve, posterior inferiorly the internal carotid artery, and in between them carotico-optic recess. The inferior wall may have the bulging of the maxillary branch of trigeminal nerve. Types of pneumatization. Depending on the pneumatization, the sphenoid bones has 3 types of pneumatization: salad type, pre-salad type, conchal type. The anterior wall of the sphenoid is situated 7 cm from the anterior nasal spine at 30 degrees from the floor of the nose. Here is the 3 types of pneumatization seen in the schematic picture. This is the type 1, only rudimentary cell is seen, and in pre-salad type, the pneumatization extends up to the anterior wall of the cilia toxica or pituitary fossa, and in salad type, the pneumatization extends up to the clivus. And in salad type, the pituitary bulge may be seen in its superior surface. In case of conchal type, the surgery is contraindicated. Here the CT scan shows the 3 different tiers of pneumatization. The sphenoid sinus, the sphenoethmoidal recess, and the other sinuses and recesses are seen in this picture. Surgical importance in functional and endoscopic sinus surgery. Approximately 6% of cases, the bone over the optic nerve may be dehiscent. Approximately 25% of cases, bone over the internal carotid artery may be clinically dehiscence. This may be difficult to visualize on CT scan if sphenoid sinus is full of polyps. Therefore, extreme caution has to be exercised in pulling polyp out from within the sphenoid sinus. 4 lamella encountered on endoscopy from anterior to posterior. This is first lamella is uncinate process. Second is anterior wall of the bulla. Third lamella is ground lamella. Fourth lamella is anterior of the sphenoid. This is the anterior to posterior. Sometimes superiorly the fifth lamella may be the superior turbinate and sixth lamella may be the supreme turbinate. Here is the picture of these turbinates. Important anatomical landmarks during the endoscopic sinus surgery. This is the constant landmarks. The medial turbinate, uncinate process, bulla modalis, sphenoidoschium, skull base, maxillary sinus. After removal of anterior and posterior sinus, we can see the lamina papyracea, which is yellowish in color due to fat. There is the sphenoid sinus seen there, and that is the lacrimal duct. Nasolacrimal duct opens into the roof of the inferior meatus, and its apex is guarded by the bulb called Hessner's bulb. The canal for nasolacrimal duct approximately 5 mm anterior to the normal maxillary ostium. And this is the nasolacrimal duct. After dissecting the bone, the medial bone is formed by the lacrimal bone, which is thin, and the lateral one is thick, which is formed by the maxilla, frontonasal process of the maxilla. After removal of the lamina papyracea, we can see the fat, orbital fat. Here the orbital fat, and this is the nasolacrimal duct. Now come to the anatomical variations. Variations in anatomy are more a rule than an exception. Must be aware of this variation before surgery. CT scan plays a vital role to diagnose the variations. Nasal septal turbinate. This is a fusiform area of the tissue which behaves structurally and functionally like of the turbinates. This is the pneumatized nasal septum. This is the pneumatization of the superior turbinate. This is the concha bullosa. Concha bullosa is over pneumatization of the middle turbinate, and it is in the bullous part of the middle turbinate, which can impair the circulation and causes nasal obstruction, causing chronic rhinosinusitis. Paradoxical middle turbinate, that means it is convexity towards the lateral wall. Paradoxical bilateral middle turbinate may be seen in the CT scan. Curved uncinate process. When it is medially curved, it looks like two turbinates, and this is also curved uncinate process. Pneumatization of uncinate process may also seen. Bifid uncinate process may also found in the CT scan. There is the Agarnase cell. When Agarnase cell is pneumatized, it can obstruct the frontal recess. Here is the CT scan of the frontal ostium, and the Hallard cell is the infraorbital cell. Here is the Onodi cell, as I am talked earlier about this. There may be bilateral Onodi cell. Thank you all for patience here.